Yo, what's up, If you're watching this, you probably want to get your crypto knowledge up. In the past 2.5 years, I've probably read close to about 15 to 20 books regarding Bitcoin, trading, stock market, investing related. And this video is going to give you my top 5 books on if you want to understand Bitcoin, understand decentralization, understand money, understand the creation of Bitcoin, where this came from, who are the cypherpunks, right? We're going to take a deep dive into really what the blockchain code is and why does Coinbase even have their name as Coinbase, right? Like, think about it, right? No one really ever thinks about that. But yeah, it's just little things like that that over the long run will help you make money in the crypto space. Now, I want to make it very clear, you do not need to read any book in crypto to honestly get a general understanding and make money from it. I know people who have made millions of dollars and they've never read a single crypto book at all. Now, the reason I know this and I can verify this is because I've made over 6 figures without even reading a book, without just, because there's no book on meme coins, right? That's like something you live through. That's something you're a part of. Maybe now there's books on meme coins. I think it goes through publishing and editing stuff and all that. A book is one of the slowest methods of communication, right? Like we have YouTube, Twitter, TikTok. We have a lot faster ways of communicating with each other where you can make money and act quick on it. Books are something more for the long run, more to understand something, more if you want to be, I'm not just a guy that like gets in for a couple months and then gets out. You're someone that wants to play these cycles, someone that wants to really understand the crypto industry as a whole, someone that's a supporter of it. One way to like check and see if an influencer or someone you look up to and watch videos for is actually really serious about it is if they actually are dedicated to understanding it and dedicated to education. You'll notice that if these influencers are not really making videos, they didn't really were here for the education. They were just here for the money, for the crypto, which is fine. But if you want to be here for the long run and you want to have trusted advisors, trusted people that are going to actually give you sound advice in the crypto space, you got to at least understand the blockchain, Bitcoin's blockchain, permissionless blockchains, permissioned blockchains. Like a lot of people think blockchain is just blockchain. There are so many different types of blockchains. Did you know that banks created blockchains? Like you won't be able to find this on like a trending TikTok post about Dogecoin. You have to be reading these in these books. So yeah, that was a pretty long intro, but here are my top 5 crypto books. Now, before I go into the specific book, I want you guys to know that all these books are less than like 20 bucks. There's a reason why books are so cheap. It's because that like no one reads them. It's not like a course. It's kind of funny how like a course word for word will be like maybe 10% of a book's knowledge, yet you're paying a fraction of the price in a book. It's kind of crazy to me because I know some people that buy books and they just don't end up reading it. If you're going to buy a book, read it. And a lot of these books are super cheap, so there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to. And if not, you could probably always find it online, probably for a lot cheaper. But the first book I want to get into is The Basics of Bitcoin and Blockchains. This is one of the first books I ever read in the crypto space. It's the one I've read the most. It's the one that broke down everything. It broke down like just general what is blockchain, right? What were the first iterations of Bitcoin? Like Bitcoin wasn't the first attempt at a cryptocurrency. There were other ones like eGold and DigiCash and a whole bunch of other like cryptos that were failed projects that ended up becoming real cryptos down the line. But Bitcoin was like the first successful cryptocurrency outlined by Satoshi in his white paper. It goes over certain bits of the white paper. It explains Ethereum, other altcoins, NFTs, meme. This is like a general understanding. Like if you wanted to just get in without going niche down specific, I'd say this is the absolute perfect book for you to get into. Now, another cool thing I like about this book is that it also explains like the current traditional finance system and compares it to Bitcoin. It talks about how like money's moved in the Fed and throughout the world in something called Nostro and Vostro accounts, which are like bank accounts at other banks. It pretty much explains our money system and then gives you the reason why Bitcoin's better or Bitcoin's sound money, Bitcoin's gold 2.0. Kind of posing Bitcoin as a solution. I do remember the author trying to be as least biased as possible, trying to use like logical sounding into it, because I would be pretty annoyed if I read a book and they were only just shilling it the entire time, because I feel like I'm being sold to. It also goes over Bitcoin mining, right? Explaining how mining transactions work, mining fees, total supply of Bitcoin. It does obviously harp on Bitcoin a lot because Bitcoin's the number one cryptocurrency right now in 2023. Unfortunately, ETH hasn't dethroned it yet. But yeah, other than that, it kind of just does like a basic rundown of everything in the crypto space. On to the next book. Now, this next book is more for someone who wants to go a little bit deeper into the crypto space. I'd recommend, it's still a beginner book, I'd say, but it's something that you probably want to read the basics of Bitcoin and blockchain first before you get into it, because these people start to get a little bit into it. This starts to kind of get into the niche down of the people who are crypto anarchists or cypherpunks who believe in cryptography and anarchism and essentially kind of like dethroning governments and kind of putting power back into the people. So you see a lot of like recurring themes, right? A lot of recurring like political ideas in this book. So definitely is a stronger book for most people that I wouldn't recommend you get into at the beginning. Now, I do have to warn you, this book is a little bit more darker compared to the other books. It's not all bright and like sunshine. It really is gloomy. It explains a lot of dark stuff in the crypto space, talking about like anonymous hack groups and a lot of bad events that have happened, hacks, even fatal events like murders in the blockchain and stuff. I mean, it gets real serious. There's a lot of stuff that happens in the crypto space. A lot of missing billionaires, a lot of random helicopter crashes, a lot of founders of certain projects extorted with things like CIA and stuff and all that. Now, it doesn't directly get into the recent stuff, but things that have happened in the past with hacks and stuff and things, it gets all into that. Another cool thing is actually it talks about the beginning of the cypherpunks, which is the mailing list of these crypto anarchy people. It talks about Timothy C. May, shows like the actual letters and messages. Like, I won't just like paraphrase them, it actually like insert them and show it. It'll show like current NSA and like United States White House briefings and stuff, and how like they're kind of like against each other. It definitely does put you back in time, and like from like 1980s to like the 2000s about what was really going on in the crypto space. Like you think crypto and Bitcoin blew up in 2017. Like you think that's when it all really started. But in reality, there were people that were thinking about this and creating these games and these virtual worlds in their heads in like the 1980s. They just didn't have the technology like we have today. I don't want to spoil any more of the book's content, so we're gonna move on to the next book. Now, the next book we have is a book I actually have here in person, as well as I have with the Bitcoin code. And this one's called the Bitcoin Guidebook. It's essentially like the basics of Bitcoin and blockchain, except it's a little bit more practical. Like, it'll give you like an actual tutorial on how to buy and sell crypto, like what exchanges to use that were active when the book was released, which I think it was either 2018 or 2019. Yeah, 2019. But yeah, it's a pretty much more practical book. It explains kind of the same things about the other book about Bitcoin, right? Going over mining and the basics of Bitcoin, who Hal Finney is, and Mike Hearn, and all these other key players, right? Jed McCaleb, Caleb, all the people who were part of like the top 10 projects back in the past. One cool thing to note about this book is that it gives a lot of like company examples. Like the majority of the book is explaining how companies have adopted and tried certain blockchain models in the past. Whether it be PayPal, JP Morgan, Facebook, all these companies. And you'd be surprised. Like you'd think banks are traditional. They aren't part of the new decentralized industry, right? They don't understand crypto. In reality, these banks were making blockchains like 4 or 5 years ago, and you had no idea. Like they were controlling it. They were manipulating it from the beginning. One funny thing to mention is that like all these books that focus on like the history of Bitcoin always talk about Mt. Gox. Like you're gonna hear something about Mt. Gox, which was an exchange that got hacked in the past before Coinbase or any other exchange existed. And the bitcoins from Mt. Gox have never been like released to the victims, to the people that suffered that. And people do say that'll be like a turning point in crypto. That when these bitcoins are released, there'll be massive sell-off, and people are saying there's a conspiracy to like hold these bitcoins off and pay out people in certain ways to like mitigate, right, to have damage control in the situation. So just something to keep in mind. Mt. Gox is all over these books. Now, the last two books are actually not like crypto, Bitcoin related. They're more generalized trading books, right? You have Technical Analysis Masterclass, which is like the first one on the Google link you see right here, and this one, Charting and Technical Analysis. Now, the reason I have these two added books to the list is because crypto is great fundamentally, right? Like when you're in crypto, there's a lot of things you do. You can be an NFT trader, you can be a developer, right? You can be a coder, right? You don't necessarily have to trade crypto, but the majority of us are going to trade crypto, right? If we're going to want to make a profit on certain cryptos and exit certain positions, you're going to have to understand basic buy, sell functions and stuff, and you want to be able to maximize that. There's no harm in understanding a little bit of charts, right? Instead of getting out at a top or figuring out the market bottom or top and trusting the whatever trending influencers on TikTok or YouTube that year, right? You can actually maybe look at the chart and make an understanding of yourself. And I'm not saying you have to go completely into it, understand all these things that have a certain trading strategy, but understand basic things like support and resistance, mindset, ideologies, like risk management, certain formations on the chart. This is going to help you in the long run, and getting these books that not only like explain to you like kind of like a cheat sheet, but like way more in depth of these things, but also explain to you like certain trade patterns and how like people have like had mindsets and other trades in the past, will help you find a strategy better. So I definitely do recommend that. And last but not least, my bonus book, which is actually be the next book I'm reading after I finish rereading the Blockchain Code, because I do reread these books to understand it. You can't just read them once, is Bitcoin Billionaires. I actually had this gifted to me from a friend when I went to the Bitcoin conference in 2022, I believe. I don't know, I went to every single Bitcoin conference, and there's always crazy stuff that happens every single time. But I remember they're giving out this book. They're really giving it out at the Bitcoin conference, and I thought it was really cool. I'm pretty sure there's being a movie made about this. I'm pretty sure there's like a really big budget behind it. But I think this has to do with Zuckerberg, right, and the people he was teamed up with at Harvard, and like Gemini, and how they got into crypto. So another cool like Bitcoin storybook, just more history, really. Like I said, it's a long-term game. You don't read these books to read it and go make money right away, right? That's like where meme coins and other trading stuff like NFTs happen, right? There's no books on that as far as I know yet, and if they are, like they're probably not full of really good information. But this is more long term. If you plan to actually stay in the market and you plan to be like a seasoned investor, seasoned trader, you understand certain cycles. Guys, people don't get rich off their first cycle. Like very few people actually do it. It takes on average like 2 to 3 cycles. I think BitBoy or Ben said like the same thing back before all the whole drama thing happened. Like he would explain that he was part of the first cycle, and it was hard. It was tough. It was tough. It was really tough for these people, and it took really like good 2 to 3 cycles for them to understand that. So if you're getting in crypto in 2021, mind you, there have been people who have been trying to make it out, right? Trying to like have financial abundance in crypto since 2014, 2015. These people have been part of projects that have bought and sold at the wrong times, that have sold 1,000 Bitcoin, sold thousands of Ethereum because they thought that was the top. They thought that was over and stuff and all that. And so, like I said, these are the top 5 books, and here's my bonus books. Down in the description below, I think I'm going to link all the previous books I read in the past, as well as the books I'm reading in the future, just so you guys have it all in one list. This is just only 5 books. There's over 20, 30 books that you can find within this genre that are actually just some amazing books, like Intelligent Investor, all the basic like Robert Kiyosaki stuff and all. That's all like the basic entrepreneurship stuff. I'm talking about like way better trading books, way better books that understand psychology and market analysis and stuff and all that. Guys, before the video ends, I just want you to understand that at the end of the day, these are just words on a page. Crypto is literally just money. It comes and go. We see hundreds of new cryptos come every single year, and they go. NFTs that come every single year and go. In the future, there's going to be books that pretty much explain all of this, like all 10 books into one book, because that's just how far knowledge and technology would have expanded by then. So really do take it with a grain of salt. I don't expect these books to save me. I only expect one person to save me. That's Jesus Christ. It says in the word to seek him first, and everything else should be added to you. Now, I'm going to use these books and use knowledge to do it, but I'm never going to say I have to read this book or I got to understand a certain concept or I ain't going to make it. That isn't what determines this stuff. So yeah, I'm out. Peace.